Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Solio Analytics podcast. It's game week 2 coming up now. I'm not joined by Pras this time. I'm doing the intro. I'm trying to think of it on the spot. But I am joined by Baker, who is of the Above Average FPL podcast. We've been on a few podcasts together. I've joined you many times before, but for those of you who don't know you on our new shiny channel, would you like to give us a quick intro into who you are and what you do?
Did I put you off there by taking my glasses off at the last minute?
Good. Yeah, it's fine.
Did they get? I suddenly was like, I don't know why I got my glasses on or not.
I can put mine on.
I need them.
Do you want to put yours on? Should we look intellectual? Yeah, I mean, I don't need them with this.
I genuinely think I put them on to seem less grassy. I thought I better get the glasses on. And then I was like, nah, I know I am.
Where are the sunglasses? You could use those. This is what we want. There we go. Okay, right. This is a great start. This is what we're here for. Pras is away for 1 week, and we've already gone off the rails in the intro.
This is where it goes.
How are we doing?
This is where it goes. Yes, Baker, above average. Half of that with me and Adam. Well, it's not our first radio, is it? As such, and FPL's back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Very exciting. I've got a few bits of admin just off the top. So since we've launched our new planning tool for the first season, this is our new exciting season. It's free for everyone for the whole month of August. I don't know if you've been playing around with it too much, but I do actually have an announcement to make that we've been so excited with so many new users that we're actually going to make it free for the month of September as well. So paid and free subscription tiers will be back in October, but until the end of September, everything is free to use for everyone. We want to get as many people using it as possible. We've had some really good feedback. We've had some really good development cycles with the launch, with all the new people in, getting everyone's opinions. So I think we want to give back to everyone and say thank you as well, especially people who've been tuning into the podcast and the content. I think we've been blown away with the views and comments and support we've had so far. It's sort of getting around 10,000 views per video straight off the bat is not what I was expecting. Maybe it's the Pras factor. Maybe this one will do even better because we've got Baker.
What are you saying about? Thank
sorry.
you.
I realised what I was saying there.
Yeah, I knew you were going.
But anyway, yes. So if you go, I'll put the link in the description, but solioanalytics.com, you can check out the tool. We've got everything set up for game week 2. The markets are starting to come in, live data is starting to come in, people are starting to react to changes. We're not drafting for 15 players, we're drafting for how many transfers to roll, probably. But, planning ahead. Have you had much of a go on it? I'll ask for
I have.
some live feedback.
What would say, in case I bring my more grassy friends with me, is I struggle actually in the most suboptimal way you possibly can with a lot of the analytic tools, the models, the solvers in pre-season, because I just block too many people. I just ban because I'm like I don't know that I can. Yeah, I don't know that I am that one, but my dalliance with it more is a case of, okay, this is the mess I've got myself into now. I've pressed it in game week 1. I'm much more excited to use the models after game week 1. Once I've got that to go, well, actually now, what are the various paths I could go down from where I'd be? So it's weird. It's partially it's a mindset thing from I expect from myself, and it's definitely not the right way to go, because technically I should have identified my path and then therefore chosen players for it, but that's not really me. But now it comes to this part, so I would say anybody that had a go pre-season and then is like, well, I picked my team and I didn't use it for it, that doesn't mean you can't pick it up now. Like, actually, now's the better time, and for anyone that's completely new around it, there's nothing more cuddly and warming than you think of this transfer you want to do, and then you go and put your team in, and it tells you
computer agrees.
Computer says yes, and you're like, fantastic.
Yeah, it's really customizable. So I think also, like, I've had a few people say kind of like, if it's suggesting stuff that they don't really agree with, actually you're encouraged to go in and change it, because essentially if you've picked a team that doesn't agree with our default beliefs, which you're perfectly entitled, if not encouraged to do, and then press the optimization button with our belief system, it's going to try and change your team quite a lot. Whereas actually you need to go in and go, I don't rate this guy, I don't rate that guy, I rate this team more, and then it'll start giving you your sort of personalized, tailored stuff. But I think also like preseason there's so much uncertainty, so you end up just starting like banning all these players. Like, I don't think this is going to fit. I kind of want to whittle down to a smaller decision space. Whereas now that we're a bit more restricted with our degrees of freedom in terms of, you know, you've got one transfer. Obviously, you're picking your lineup this week. So who am I captaining? Who am I putting on the bench? But transfer this week, especially in game week 2, is one transfer or not, usually. And some people are playing chips. I know there's free hits and wildcards sort of flying around if they'd bench boosted and wildcarding out of it. So there's you know, more to think about there. But I think also what we want to try and do with it is like you're kind of planning for like specific amounts of uncertainty. So like this guy was 50-50 to start game week 1 and he wasn't in the squad still. Like, is he going to start game week 2 or will it be game week 3 he's back? And if I want him, how do I plan for like, you know, being able to get over to that player? Whereas in preseason, there's an element of like, there's so much more uncertainty, but no one specific thing is very clear cut. So especially with the transfers, I think there's been so many players who might move, might not move, are holding out for a move,
100%.
and that not only that affects them and the team strengths, but also who's playing up front for Brentford, because Wissa might move to Newcastle, but he might not, and that's dependent on whether Isak's going to move to Liverpool and vice versa. And then Thiago is playing, but then he might be on penalties or might not. So every single individual bit is not massive, but it all stacks up. So it's quite hard to plan for those specific points. But I think once the season's underway, that'll be a lot easier and it'll be more clear cut. Like, I've got an injured player. What do I do with that information? Rather than I've got to pick 15 players out of 690 or however many there are. I know not all of them are irrelevant players. I think we're not picking all those guys, but
your club, Newcastle, before we started recording, I don't know if you've seen the statement that Isak made at the old Player of the Year Awards. But he said, breaking news, when promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA team this season. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle who supported me. I'm not the ceremony tonight. Everything going on doesn't feel right. I've kept quiet for a long time what others have spoken. Yeah, it goes on and on. Basically, the reality is promises were made. The club has known my position.
He's really holding firm, isn't he?
Gone. Yeah. The relationship can't continue.
He said he doesn't want to play for them ever again. Which, I mean, I don't know what happens if the move's not materialised by the end of the transfer window or where we stand there. But tricky spot for him and,
really tricky spot.
And for the club. And I still can't quite work out why Liverpool want him. I mean, I know they want him. He's really good, but like, I thought they looked pretty good already. Yeah, not sure.
So obviously, you know, within the league as well, you've got two guys linked in Wissa and Strand Larsen.
Mm-hmm.
How does that factor? Just then again, so model-wise, would they have any like expected move type to their world?
I mean, there are markets on player movements. I think they're very. There's not a lot of money on them. They're not very accurate. I don't think they're particularly good for assessing how likely a move is to happen.
No.
And the issue that we have with some of the market stuff is actually often what the markets will do if there's enough uncertainty on this player might move or might not, and what does that mean for the game, is they'll bring the market down, as in like they don't offer odds on it until something's resolved. So it is quite tricky for us, from our point of view, in terms of like actually we're trying to project the game stuff, and you know, so often when Rob's posting his stuff about the season-long players, and it's like, well, Isak's not on there because they're not willing to stake it because it's so uncertain that they're not even gonna widen the error margins. They're just like, we stand to lose too much money if we get this wrong, so they just take the market down. So in terms of, I think a few games are actually down on some of the sites. I think Pinnacle is down for might be Newcastle, Liverpool, and maybe it might be the Palace game, I think, as well, with Eze to your club potentially.
Hopefully.
So actually, because we've been looking at historical data and obviously what the lines opened at before they were taken down, and there are a few sites that still offer stuff, then we can still make a reasonable projection. And one player being out tends not to have an enormous effect. I think people have talked about in the past, and I've heard Ted Knutson talk about Prime Messi and Prime Ronaldo were worth about a quarter goal, so about 0.25 goals, if they were not available. And most players aren't Prime Messi and Prime Ronaldo. So the team goal lines are going to move, 0.1-ish for a missing centre-back or missing something like that. So we can usually make a pretty educated guess, and then we can adapt to once the market opens up and once the market moves, based on if they open up in not quite the right spot, the money goes down and it moves and it corrects very quickly. So I think, also in terms of from a fantasy perspective, unless you've got price changes involved, you can just wait till Friday for the information. We just wait till the press conferences. I know some people have gone early on like a Reinders move and that kind of thing, which does make it quite tricky to evaluate, is this move worth it? What information am I going to get between now and the deadline, and is that going to affect that decision? That can be quite tricky, but I think generally, you're just kind of looking at, okay, how much of a factor do we think this player out is going to be? Is it going to be that much? Are we going to move it down a little bit? And then that obviously affects the players and the player shares around them, but it's not huge. Like the backup striker's going to not have a massive effect. It's more players like Gordon playing number 9 and probably taking penalties while Isak's not there. That's going to have a big effect on one player. But Harvey Barnes, other than being more likely to play because Gordon's not taking his left wing spot, his projections aren't going to change massively. But how did you go about picking your Gameweek 1 squad with all this uncertainty? I'll bring it up on screen. We've got 55 points for you. Are you happy with the team you settled on?
I put these on.
Lovely.
Yeah. I looked at the models, I put these on, and got to my team.
Easy.
So, it's one of those where, as I'm looking at this team even now, obviously when it doesn't work out, you're like, the old adage of have I got too much riding on two little teams, almost, to an extent. Like with I've got double Liverpool attack, double Chelsea attack, double Villa attack.
Yeah, but then
it's not a huge lead, and therefore is when Chelsea and Villa score no goals between them, you're like, well, that's going to limit your returns.
And Villa didn't really threaten that much from a shots perspective either. But then equally, you get 2 bites of the cherry at Liverpool scoring 4. I know Wirtz didn't actually get involved in that, sadly, but that's your upside.
Of course it is.
And you've got your double Forest defence, Sells and Murillo, which sadly didn't come off. But if you're happy to do these stacking moves, is this something you thought about? I'm going to double up on these attacks, or is that just was it more of a players first type thing?
Yeah, I did deliberately do it. So I have loosely planned a relatively early-ish wild card, like probably something like 7. Around that kind of period, 7-8 is looking more my kind of thing. Mainly testing my resilience of how far I would go with these ones. But when I then am in that first world, Chelsea, Villa, Forest, I'm pretty happy in terms of being able to sort of roll those out most weeks. And probably if I do make transfers, it's probably going to be on those guys. I mean, your lovely Solver told me earlier what I should do is immediately take a -4 to get rid of my Villa guys.
Is that our Solver? Is that your use?
Is that
I'm not going to blame
is that
you.
my usage?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it is tricky because I think, Rodgers and Watkins. Who are they playing this week again? They come up to.
They're at Brentford.
Away. Okay, so who was it telling you to bring in, or suggesting you bring in?
Suggesting Bruno Fernandes, obviously, and
Yeah, so I think this is the one, is that like we're super hot on Bruno Fernandes. So if you don't have him, presumably you picked him because you don't think he's as good as that. So if you then solve with the belief that he is that good, it will just go, well, you should have picked him, put him back in.
100%.
But I think
100%.
also I know people have not picked Bruno Fernandes with the intention of moving to him in Game Week 3 for Burnley. Not everyone. Some people have gone, okay, I didn't want the Arsenal game. I didn't want Game Week 2. I want Game Week 3. I'll buy him then. Whereas if you're in the model and you've sort of left at the baselines, they'll go, he's still really good in Game Week 2. Let's just get him now. So unless you've set up some scenarios of like things might happen, things might go wrong in a few weeks, it'll just be greedy and sort of pick them up now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But is there a plan for Bruno to come in? Are you looking at Game Week 3, or are you thinking of playing through, free hitting?
I genuinely don't
waiting
think
a week
I will.
and deciding.
Yeah, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
I don't think I will with Bruno. I'm fully on board with that. I think all of the changes around the game have made what was a very good asset a miles better asset than what it was. They've all been beneficial to him, but I don't think that they are the Bruno Fernandes team, or they will be just the full-on Bruno Fernandes team, which they kind of were last season. It was Bruno or bust, to an extent.
You mean Man United?
Man United,
yeah.
And I like
more
sort of hot take.
Attack.
Just my hot take last night was that I thought on Sunday he was there. Till Ugarte come on, I was quite comfortable in my belief that he was the worst player on the pitch. In the Odegaard just looked like he was enjoying having the time of his life. The fact that he could do whatever he wanted to an extent. Is I know everyone will say Man United were the better team, but Odegaard did not have a tough game. He had as much time on the ball whenever he wanted, and I think that's still a problem for them. Like trying to shoehorn in, no team shoehorns in 310s effectively.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're doing with their transfer business in terms of they've bought some very good players, maybe spent a bit too much on them for what I would have spent on them, but also not really addressed the actual issues in the squad in terms of that central midfield and potentially even the back line. It'd be interesting to see how it comes together. I actually thought they played better than they had for lots of last season.
Oh, incredibly better.
Well, Arsenal's no easy opponent.
But I know lots of teams that have played well once they're 1-0 down.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
like if they played that well at 0-0 and they were the best team in the game all game at 0-0 and they lost to a last minute equaliser, I'd say, damn, plucky United were unlucky.
Yeah.
But they were 1-0 down.
Sure. Yeah. I suppose so. Yeah.
And at the end of the game, the XG is basically even. Why? Because, Arsenal were waiting for the sucker punch to an extent and almost got that with Saka at the end. Mm-hmm. Were very comfortable to play that game. And I don't think Arsenal are in the best place. I don't think Arsenal are in, I think they'd be quite open to say that they've got they've had a lot of change. They've got a brand new number 9.
Yeah.
They've got to work out the Zubimendi thing and where does that sit. And actually, towards the end of the last season, they were pretty stodgy for the majority of games, and so I think I kind of expected it would be a stodgy game in that. What we did see, from Bruno is he was very happy to lump a lot of balls into the box at the end, and Man United were very open to try and get as many pen shouts as they possibly could. And you're like, well, when they play Burnley,
yeah, I think Harry Maguire number 9.
Yeah. But there's always going to be a piece of me where I'm not 100%. I haven't been won over that I'm like, I want to captain this guy.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And I do need a little bit more feel for it.
He's not the most enjoyable player to own and captain from a.
I think it's a job to own.
I want to. Well, from enjoying owning him and watching football for FPL purposes point of view.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to do all the stuff that you want. You want these dribbly wingers who are very exciting and owning.
He's horrendous not to own though. Like you watch them.
Well, if everyone else owns him, yeah.
Even in that game, I was like, I didn't like not owning him. Towards the end, though, you were like, at some point, he's going to lump one of these and someone will get a head on it. Even there was like a corner in the 94th minute, which he took on the left, and I'm like that is the point that he's Bruno Fernandes for me in this world with all the stuff that come up is it's like a Floyd Mayweather in the boxing world. Like, it's genuinely like, I'm not sure I want to pay the pay-per-view, but if I do, I'll appreciate that. Okay, I can see why he is what he is. He has all of the tools in order to score points.
So where are you going to hide in Man United Burnley when they're playing? Are you going to be off Garden Centre? Is that the game?
Oh, I've got next week. I'm away next week with the old family. I think I'll be travelling back, so I think I might
never mind.
Accidentally missed that one.
Get on the radio. Yeah. Is there anyone in your team you think you've spotted someone in Gameweek 1 that's changed? Are you happy with Villa and Chelsea attack going forward, or is that something? I mean, I guess you can kind of just sit with them for a little bit and assess. Like, one game's not going to have a huge impact, but any red flags?
I think there's red flags immediately in how it's the unfortunate bit. I think probably with Palmer is the first part is that, similar to Bruno to an extent, is we're like, if you just play that guy there, everything's going to be fantastic. And I want you in my team every week.
Yeah.
And, we don't question the minutes of Palmer, but you just question the usage. And
what's Maresca doing?
Yeah, so similar this week. I'm like, he's probably my captain, but I don't know.
Yeah. Not confident in it.
Yeah, and I don't mind the Watkins shout for a captaincy this weekend, but you're also like, I don't know about Villa. Yeah, and then you end up before you know it.
You don't know if he's on penalties yet. You don't know if Asensio's joining. You don't know. I suppose you'll know before the deadline whether Asensio is going to be playing the match. But and
then before you know it, you've gone with your towel back between your legs, back to Mr. Salah, because you're like, nobody put their hand up for me.
Still, yeah, nobody wanted it. Reinders, Captain Reinders.
No, he's got the majestic Tottenham Hotspur. Thomas Frank, baby.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, are you mentioning him then or selling him?
No, I'm playing him.
I'll still get the points. Yeah, okay. We'll come on to it. So my team's not too different. I do have Bruno Fernandes. I have who I believe may be the Villa penalty taker in Tielemans. I've got these very similar picks, but I did not go for Wirtz. Actually, mine was a bit different. I decided to go Bruno instead. But then I also didn't. I think for a lot of people, the decision was kind of a Wirtz or a Watkins or which one of Wirtz, Watkins, Bruno to drop. Or to try and squeeze all three in and make some adjustments elsewhere. But I've only got Bruno. I don't have Wirtz, don't have Watkins. So Bruno, Salah, Palmer, Evan Nielsen, Mateta, Ismail Assar, and slightly beefier defence. I was pleased to get Tarkowski's defensive contributions. Not so pleased to get the penalty given against him right at the end. That was a bit frustrating. But yeah, I think I tried to spread the money as far as possible. I think I've gone for guys who I will very happily just sit with for a while. I think Tielemans is one of those who I think even if I have a pessimistic view of him, then he's good enough to just roll out every week and not become an issue because he's going to be playing pretty much all the minutes. Was playing as a bit of a 10, which is potentially exciting, but also, loses the defensive contribution potential.
Strangely, he's one.
Yeah,
he's one. So where Bruno, I'd prefer him if he was one of the 10s.
Yeah,
I actually think Tielemans,
play him deeper, please.
You want him deeper, please, because what you get with Tielemans is an incredible range of passing, and actually you've got incredible channel runners like Rodgers and Watkins, and you want those two close together. And Tielemans been able to play over the top to them, or the ball comes out and he shoots from 20 yards. Those are the things that you want from him, and then just take away with some DEFCON and maybe the odd pen.
Yeah.
But yeah, strangely, I don't think Tillman's is a pick you want him closer to goal. Although I do like I'm surprised I haven't had more people go for the old T10. We had the old Mac 10 a few weeks, but T10.
Tilly 10.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I think the issue was Villa just didn't really offer that much. They just didn't really create many chances.
Your midfield was too good for him, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think our attack wasn't good enough to make the most of the fact, especially once the red card came in. But yeah, I think Spurs did me well here. Got Vicario and Porro. That was, I suppose it was possibly Burnley who did me well by not creating anything. But yeah, 6-2-3s. Mark Gui on the bench as well. Seems less likely that he's going to get any minutes than it was before the season. Given Minder scored, then Isidore came on and scored, and Mark Gui didn't feature at all. But also, I don't think it wasn't like there was another 4 point. Well, Krupi Jr. for Bournemouth did come on, but might have been my Evan Nielsen backup. I think that's the one place where I was like, almost like, because I weighed it up. I almost went for Krupi Jr. I thought get
the double up.
I thought I can get the double up. If Evan Nielsen's injured, then
exactly
I've got the backup. But then I thought, I'm going to bench boost at some point. It's quite plausible that I'll want 3 Bournemouth guys, and I think it's more likely that I get stuck with being unable to get the third Bournemouth that I want than I am going to benefit from having a slightly better non-playing 4.5. But actually everything else, I think, everyone played good minutes that I wanted. I think this is a team I can. Dubravka started. I think one of the issues with going Vicario was that you're a bit reliant on Dubravka game week 2 because Vicario's away to City. But he started game week 1, so I don't even have to worry about it. Easy. Play Dubravka, bench Vicario, and I'll come back in game week 4 or 5 and figure out what I want to do. But not as many points as you, only 50 points.
Yeah, but right,
does it matter?
If you offered me now the swap of Watkins and Pedro for Mateta and Evan Nielsen, I would take that.
Right.
Now, if you think about it to an extent,
you get some more money as well. You do that.
Is one, I'd have more money, but although a pair of ones with the forward line, the opposition that you are up against really didn't have a good week.
Yeah.
Is and if anything, the position weakened. João Pedro, who was already, on pretty shaky ground, and not so good. And
then there's links to Jackson for Villa as well. I'm going to bring up. I've made some notes to bring up. So this is the Friday and Saturday games worth of notes. I've tried to go through because I think what a lot of content does is they'll talk through the game and what they kind of watched and saw of it, and we'll do that as well. Yes. If you want that content, go check Baker out. And we'll do it here too. Like, it's not like we're just going to go, here's all the data, don't care about the football. We're still going to have a chat about it. But I thought actually, especially now that I am helping maintain a projection model for a product for Solio with Rob and the team, I'm putting a lot more attention into who's playing minutes, who's playing where, what positions are changed, and what do I need to update for the model for the next week or even for the next day once something's happened. So actually I've tried to make a kind of note list. This was partly for me, but partly for actually what's changed that's going to impact the projections in game week 2 rather than what can we describe about game week 1 that's still interesting but doesn't always have that predictive value going forward. So I've got notes about the lineup, if anyone started or didn't start or was playing in a different position that we weren't expecting. I've got if any penalties were taken. Some penalty situations are a little bit up in the air. Leeds had one that didn't really resolve that much because the other guys weren't on the pitch. Corners, I know we did talk quite a bit about corners in pre-season in terms of some of the guys like Elliot Anderson, who I suppose, his potential corner taking risks are guys who are signing for the club now and weren't playing yet, but might be one to look at. Are then any new players coming in? And any rumoured players that I've put on the list for ones to watch out for. So we mentioned Jackson has been linked to Villa which might have a dampening effect on Watkins, or do you think they play both up top together? Is that something that's sort of worrying you a little bit, or?
I think if Jackson's coming in, it's because Watkins is going to Newcastle. It's
this big long chain of transfers again.
That definitely sort of earlier today, you suddenly started to see a few more rumours that maybe that game's there, and
they're all linked. It's all going to collapse, and suddenly they're all going to move.
I just think with Villa's ongoing dabbling with PSR and the world, like taking sort of 5 years out of your striker and
why not?
Maybe 30 million quid, probably also profit maybe on it. From a business's point of view, sounds reasonable. I'm sure Villa fans losing Ollie Watkins and getting Nico Jackson won't feel that way, but I've got no issue with Nico Jackson, and if Nico Jackson went to Villa, I'd be very interested.
Yes, yeah. I think if Nico Jackson becomes a starter for any other team, I'd be very interested, definitely.
Incredibly interested.
From a fantasy perspective. Even if he goes straight to Newcastle and cut out the middleman. He was linked briefly at one point. But I suppose we should start them in chronological order. We've got Liverpool, Bournemouth up first. So the notes I put down is, I hope these are legible. I think that they should be able to read, but I can read them out for the audio listeners as well. So Liverpool's fullbacks were subbed early. I don't think there was much in the lineup that sort of surprised me. Obviously, Gravenberch was suspended. So looking forward to game week 2 now that he's back. Then, is it going to be Szoboszlai or McAllister or someone else partnering him in midfield? But yeah, Frimpong and Kirkes both came off in the 59th minute or the 60th minute, or whichever one it was. It was mentioned that Frimpong might have hurt himself slightly. It sort of felt something in his hamstring, but I guess they both came off. And they brought Endo on at right back, which was, for about 10 minutes until he brought Joe Gomez on. Didn't look great at right back, but Wirtz on all the corners, took all 6 corners, both sides. Was pretty interesting I can't remember who's taken them before. I guess it might have been McAllister or Szoboszlai or Robertson used to take some. Obviously Trent has gone.
I think the learn we've kind of had from it is that Robertson or Tsimikas, whichever one of them it was that was on the pitch, took all of them from the right side.
Yeah.
So permanently and in swinging one on the right side. Trent started the season on the in swingers on the left, but actually gave up quite a lot of them to McAllister at the end of last season, and obviously McAllister didn't play a lot in pre-season, and I think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, Wirtz might be on set pieces, but as soon as McAllister comes back in, you've lost that. Now, he didn't lose that, but that might have been positional as much as it as still. So if you think about it, McAllister was the 6, whereas if Gravenberch was on the pitch, then Gravenberch is probably more the 6.
Sure, if you take the corner in and lose the ball, you're still set up in a position where Gravenberch is at the edge of the box and can defend.
Exactly. So there might still be, I still would say, do we 100% say that McAllister's lost all his set pieces to Wirtz? I don't think we 100% know that. And sometimes it's because obviously if you've been quite limited in pre-season, they've been working all these routines, so Wirtz is on them and it'll continue to it doesn't.
Exactly. So
I think,
there's rarely something that we can take 100% confidence from what happened this week, because even
if positive,
even if it looks good, it's a signal, it moves us in that direction. But if we update our beliefs too quickly, then something that happened this week that we thought was for a very specific reason, but actually was not happenstance, but something else, like you say, that we've missed with McAllister in the 6, then you can overcorrect and you end up moving back and forward too much. But it's still very positive for Wirtz owners that he was taking the corners and he played some pretty good minutes too. I know he wasn't super exciting for some people, and obviously didn't get the returns that people were looking for. But I feel a bit better now without Wirtz than I did pre-season, actually. But I'm trying not to go when he blanked. So good. I need to remember it's what's actually happening. What might happen going forward. I mean, him not getting points as a non-owner is obviously still a positive. I should take that, but
absolutely.
He's still one that I do worry about as someone that lots of people own and has lots of routes to points. It's hardly
in
a
general,
bad player.
there was quite a lot of spread around set pieces. But I think,
Yeah.
if you look at it, you've got Verts, the interesting one, and steering you off the chronological. But if you flick to your next one with Chelsea,
we'll jump around. Yeah, go on. You're in charge.
I'll push you around to it. Well, what we've seen there is, it is noteworthy, obviously, that Palmer did not take a corner for Chelsea.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And
again,
and they had plenty of them. They had 6 for Neto, 3 for James, 2 for Esteval. There's a few teams that only had 2 or 3 corners. So actually, Everton had 2. Shrewsbury Hall took them both. But I think Palace as well. Eze took 2, but there's a few teams who tend pretty much. I mean, most corners are predominantly in the swingers now. So actually, quite a few teams have 2 corner takers, one who takes from each side. So actually, Adam Morton was on the pitch and didn't take any corners, but he's left-footed, so he takes the ones from the right-hand side.
Exactly right.
So he didn't take any, but hasn't. We wouldn't say he's lost his corners, so to speak.
No, because it was from that
side. Because Eze had 2, but 11 corners for Chelsea, and Palmer didn't take any of them.
Didn't take any of them.
That's
enough.
It's noteworthy.
It's enough to say that's a problem. I think all the rest of them worked out as you'd expect them to. Still Saka taken from one side, Rice taken from the other, Bruno taken from one side, Bumo's taken from the other.
Yeah.
Eze was taken from one side. Like I say, I think Wharton would have taken those ones. But Verts is one here where you look at it and you're like, okay, that's good to know.
He did take a couple from both sides. I think there was.
That's as far as a tick for our crosses. That's there. I think from our side, I'm just going to deal with you. I'm just doing corners now.
I think there's maybe too many games. We'll just jump around. It's all good.
But in Tottenham Burnley, it was very much Kudus one side and Porro from the other. Again, looking for the in-swingers. And that's normally the way now, isn't it? We don't have many assets in this game that take both sides.
Yeah, I think Bernardo for City took 5. I didn't actually check if that was both sides or if they just happened to get 5 on the same side. Point. And I mean, their squad is moving around quite a lot. It's not like Bernardo's going to be 90 minutes every game, so they presumably have some backup takers if he's not on the pitch. But
he did take them both sides. They predominantly were from the right side, but he did take both sides.
But I think Palmer not taking them and Verts taking all of them. Tonali for Newcastle actually, I think hasn't taken that many corners and has taken quite a few over Trippier. It's normally been Trippier or Gordon. Lewis Hall wasn't playing, who does tend to, he's our left-footed corner taker.
Tends to and can take both sides.
And can take both sides, as well. Yeah. But there's quite a few. I don't think there was actually too many that really stood out to me as this was not what I expected. There's a few who don't really seem to have a corner taker in some ways. Like, I'm not quite sure what West Ham are doing. Irving was a sub who came on like late on and took 3 corners. And then they had 4 players who all took 1 corner. So I don't know if they're just whoever's nearest the corner takes it or what Graham Potter is up to. Yeah. But if you want to burn
Elliot
the defender,
great.
The next one
Bert's
as well.
Great.
Hartman was taking corners. I didn't know who was taking Burnley corners, if I'm being honest. But now we know Hartman seems to take them.
Now we know.
Try Hume, Xhaka, Sunderland penalty takers, corner takers even.
Love them.
Yeah,
we're good.
But so we did have a couple of pens. We had O'Reilly taking a penalty for Brighton. Is potentially still linked with Juventus moved away, Juve. So obviously I think that would be Rutter back into attacking mid and Welbeck starting, or maybe Gruder comes in as an AM. But Welbeck was benched. That was probably fairly noteworthy. I know he was a doubt and he'd missed a couple of preseason games, but
what's your thoughts on the good old Rutter? We're not going Rutter. We're not going Jorginho. You're just going straight Rutter.
Rutter. I don't know. I need to find that Premier League video of them all pronouncing all their names. I only saw the abridged version and Jorginho wasn't on it. Rutter. I don't know. Rutter. Where's he from? He's French, I think, isn't he? Jorginho Rutter was... Yeah, I mean, he came off maybe a little bit earlier than I think people who've picked him would have liked. But actually... it was fairly plausible that he started in the attacking mid role and not the 9 role, and Welbeck started. And it was also fairly plausible that it's probably not fairly plausible. There was a chance that he didn't start. Like, it was O'Reilly and Welbeck, and it wasn't him. So I'd probably put it somewhere in the middle of my possible outcomes that I thought could happen, in terms of started at the 9, subbed off a little bit earlier than you'd like. Obviously didn't take the penalty. I think I probably wasn't putting him that high up the hierarchy, but he had a chance. It wasn't like he wasn't going to take it. Maybe if he'd won it, he might have taken it himself. Sometimes players end up doing that if they're good enough. He did
win it.
He did. Oh, he did win it. Of course, he got the assist. Got the assist for it.
Yeah.
My mistake.
He did win it.
So yeah.
Sometimes some do it the other way around, though, don't they?
Maybe if he that's what I meant. Maybe if he hadn't won it, he would have taken it. Maybe if O'Reilly had won it, because they want to give more fantasy points out, I think, is what that's what the message was.
That's what I'm saying.
Good correction. Yeah. So I think I wouldn't be worried about him. I think he's someone I'd be quite happy with. I mean, we think back to start of last season, some of the issues that you pick up in Gameweek 1 of doubts like that. So we had Nkunku, who just came off pre-60 and then didn't start Gameweek 2. I think like Rutter's nowhere near a red flag issue. I'm sure if you were picking again, you might pick someone else. Like, there was kind of higher upside for what Rutter might end up being. But equally, if O'Reilly might be moving, that opens up a bit more spot for his playing time.
Yeah.
He's not normally one. He wouldn't probably pass my threshold for I have a big enough issue that I need to fix now. Especially with the way I tend to build my squads. I tend to build quite a deep squad. So even if he had been an issue, I probably would have just benched him. But yeah, I think he's pretty exciting, pretty interesting. I think Brighton are just notoriously difficult to work out what they're doing. Herzler's not always particularly straightforward with injury news. But yeah, he's got a good upcoming run. Is he one you were looking at or thought about picking?
No.
There's Matoma as well. Quite a good pick.
Yeah, I think when you've got like maybe there's 2 10s and in O'Reilly or Rutter, maybe there's 2 9s in Welbeck or Rutter. Like, I do think he's the best option at both. So I think he will get 60 odd minutes at most games, but it's also I don't know. And I think, let's say, I don't think it's a problem, but I just don't think it's a buy. Especially, I don't think the fixtures are good enough to help me with that either.
But I think for me, he's not a sell either.
Oh God, no.
So we did have a 4.5 mid starting this game. Josh King, not that Josh King, different Josh King. Josh King of Fulham started in the 10 instead of Andres Pereira or Smith Rowe or whoever else might fit in there. But I think most people didn't really most people put a 4.5 forward in their structure if they had one at all.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's many people who started.
It was the standout 4.5. To be fair,
I think if you
were going to do it.
Normally, the 4.5 mids tend to be someone really boring who plays most of the minutes. Like, I'm thinking of Harry Winks was the one last year,
Winks.
or
Ollie Skip.
Yeah, I used to have Basuma at Brighton. Was a guy I used to pick up quite a bit, or Brownhill, I think, because he used to take some corners. Or
I started last season with Sangare. It's my 4.5.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I think you do. Look, he is clearly an incredible talent. If you search the words Josh King and generational, you will find thousands of messages from Fulham that just continually call him generational. They rate him that highly. But I do also think they'll buy. They have to buy.
He's only 18. He's good enough, but maybe not ready. And they probably want to be, they want to be bringing him through.
Like 17, 1800 minutes out of him this season.
Yeah,
if they can do that, it'd be fantastic.
You don't normally want that guy playing week in, week out. But very exciting talent. And yeah, really, I mean, if he does start playing more minutes more regularly, and we need to move to a 4.5 spot, or you're wildcarding this week and need a 4.5, he's probably definitely the guy to go for. I think there wasn't really anyone else who stood out too much in terms of.
Yeah, I think I just struggle with. To an extent, I think once you start going like the 5.5 strikers, I'm like, there's now the sort of almost meta to an extent of, would I rather have a 4.5 non-playing striker and a 5.5 mid that has definitely got some DEFCON in him?
Yeah,
I'd have that because I expect them to score more than the 5.5 striker. Despite the fact, when we don't like Mayenda, obviously gets a goal and starts in that space.
I actually picked my ender in my anti-FPL team. And he scored. And I was like, oh, bother. But never mind.
But yeah, I think I still don't think I'll have a 4.5 mid season.
No. I think he's maybe one for later. But interesting that he started. Raul started over Muniz. I think there's still a bit of doubts on whether Muniz is going to leave
Then
or
Muniz
not.
Scores. That's off today, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like sometimes just obviously we're trying to predict football, but like from an FPL perspective, it kind of just is a case of just don't touch it. Like there's not enough upside in the Fulham number 9 at the minute for the potential downside of stuff going wrong. But slightly more interesting striker situation. Your team, Spurs, Solanke didn't start. Richarlison did and was very good. Right, I mean 2 goals, but 2 good goals, and I thought he had a great game. Yeah, I mean
it was good. It was excellent, and he looked in a really good place.
Yeah,
physically, mentally. Go remember he managed to start like 6 games last season, and he's definitely had some troubles. Off the pitch, but yeah, he's got a baby. He seems happy. He's in a good place. So really good to see. I hope it continues. I think he'll start until he doesn't, almost to an extent. He did play some of the game, went to the game and played quite a bit of the game. Occasionally, he'd just switch off to the left, because we didn't have a lot of left side width in Spence, and Brennan Johnson played there. I wouldn't completely rule out that there isn't a situation where if we don't sign a left winger, that we don't end up with Solanke up top and Richarlison played to the left.
Right. He's played left wing before, also.
With Calvert-Lewin at Everton, didn't he? Quite a long time. So
is Eze that left winger, or who?
No, I think he would be the central guy. Against PSG, we played sort of 3-5-2 with Sarr as almost the 10, and that would be Eze. And in this game, Bergvall played as almost the furthest forward 8, and I think that would be Eze as well. But both of them, I would expect Eze to play central.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anything else to pick up from Spurs with your in-depth knowledge? No, just good picks, easy.
Yeah, I think from a Porro perspective, because obviously everyone's got him, I almost feel like he will be more creative in the games where we don't want to play him, which is really like conflicting to me right now as a Spurs fan. Is in that wing back role, we won't play wingers. So if you think about it, when one of the reasons why there was a couple of reasons why Thomas Frank went away from his, he used to always play 3 at the back and play the wing backs.
Yes, yeah.
And we used to say, oh, Boomer's playing wing back type stuff. Well, what happened was he actually lost all of his fullbacks and stuff last season and stuff like that. So in the end, what he ended up doing was just going 4-3-3 every game. And partially it was also because he felt his team, they just knew what they were doing then. They didn't have to revert to this sort of 3 at the back, which is a slightly more defensive way of playing. But when we play that, I'm expecting us to do it in more of a 3-4-1-2, which means the whole width is down to Porro. And because Spence, on the other side, if it is Spence, is not naturally left-footed, it does all lead Porro's way. So you'll see a spamming, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he did something like against Man City, like 9 or 10 crosses in the game.
Right.
And you're like, I'm going to bench a guy that's on set pieces and will probably take 9 or 10 crosses in a game.
I suppose, yeah. But then probably quite likely to concede.
Quite a few goals.
Yes, perhaps. We'll see how it goes. But there might be enough there for some people to play.
When it's in this formation,
people talking about picking him in the starting 11 this week.
When it's the 4-3-3 formation, it's about feeding the wingers a lot more. And there was just very little need for Porro to get to the byline. So if you're not getting huge attack volume from him, and you're not going to get DEFCON from him, you do, after a little while go, is he worth 5.5 million?
Yeah, I suppose there's corners and set piece threat that he probably takes a bit more of with no Maddison, but or clean sheets, dare I say, for a Spurs defense.
Maybe that's what we're there for.
Bonus. He still gets in the bonus a little bit now. Now that it's not quite so nerfed. But are you expecting a back 3, back 5 against City?
Oh yeah.
You reckon? Yeah. So might be further forward. Yeah. Sunderland, West Ham. I don't think there was. I mean, Sunderland 3 goals, pretty good, but I don't think they really created enough chances there to warrant 3 goals. I mean, it happens. Like, I think this was more of a alarm bells for West Ham than it was oh my god, Sunderland are great and amazing, exciting. They played well, good match. But Hermanson was straight in. I think Sunderland otherwise lined up pretty much as I thought they would. They have signed a few new. Mukieele's just signed. Can't quite get my head round that Mukiele is probably going to be the backup to Trihume, given that he was playing Champions League semi-finals for RB Leipzig, 5 years ago, however long it was. But now he's back up for a newly promoted Prem team. But apparently, that's what happens.
That's what happens. Spend a lot of money.
Yeah, Fulkrug played the full game, I believe. They seem to be sort of sticking. Well, I say sticking with. They stuck with it from pre-season, but whether they carry on with it after that result of a Bowen Fulkrug front 2, but.
I feel like he talked himself into that. I don't know if you saw, he did this quote sort of before the game of saying, before the season, saying, I sort of like get a real good second wind at 75 minutes. And I was like, are you just saying that so he doesn't get subbed?
Yeah. I'm much better at the end of the game.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure all strikers say that.
Yeah. That's when I get all my goals. But yeah, he didn't have a great game. But I don't think, again, not a huge amount from this match to take forward. I think it's without being rude, not huge amount of number of assets. Should we move on?
Shift on. Move on.
Wolves City was an exciting game. Arias did not start. That surprised me. I know they've got quite a few options for that sort of split tens around the striker. With Arias, Bellegarde, Minetzi, and Fair Lopez, their new signing. But I just thought Arias was gonna start. I'd had him down as the starter, then he's on the bench. I know that Bellegarde and Minetzi are very good, so it's not like.
And he likes them. Yeah. He does like them. He talked a lot about them last season when obviously Cunha was being naughty. That maybe these 2 guys. He should just stick with the guys that he knows. So, having made sort of some quite big statements about them towards the end of last season, it wouldn't surprise me that he eases Arias in. I think he will. Yeah. Obviously, will come in. So, I have to ask you the question: are you ripping up your team to get Reinders in?
I'm wildcarding. Yeah. No. I'm not. I mean, he was very good, and obviously played 90 minutes. But I think it's not like he made that many chances. Like he scored from, he took a difficult chance very well, and that's still something that's really good. But it doesn't necessarily indicate to me that he's going to be this guy who's in the box all the time, making all these chances, and someone I just kind of can't do without. I think if I had a problem in my team that I needed to move on, and Reinders was an option I could go to, I'd be very interested in that, in going that way. But I tried to pick my team to not have those. So even though Tielemans was a 10 and didn't do very much, he's not a problem still. He's not an issue. He's not going to play. He's not going to play way out position where he loses all of his, attacking threat, whatever. So I think those who went with him can be pretty happy, especially in terms of, returns.
Yeah.
And I know that Pep tends to play the guys who are playing well for a bit of a run of games. Like we talk about him chopping and changing quite a lot, but he kind of almost not does the opposite. Like in terms of the minutes that everyone plays over the season, no one's playing all the minutes, but people tend to get these kind of runs of games. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see Reinders start the next 3 or 4. But I think once we get into Champions League season, which is not that many game weeks away, I think it's game week 4 or 5, then I just think the squad is so good and so deep. Maybe not so good. I think there's still a few issues with it from my own point of view, but Jerky's still there, Marmoush's still there, Bernardo Silva's still there. There's still so many different setups that you can play. I know Reinders is pretty flexible, so you might still end up playing, but maybe not in as advanced a role. You can cover for as like an 8 or maybe even a 6 if they're playing 2 6s and no Rodri while Rodri's not there. But I think just the squad is very adaptable. That if Reinders didn't start the next game, I wouldn't be entirely surprised.
How big takes.
But
He'll definitely
I'm not
play this
predicting
game,
him not to start. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's me. Well, maybe I should. Maybe I should just put some outlandish take. But I think I'm not convinced he's nailed. I think like any benching would be, yeah, City have got a good squad. It's not like he's just dropped him for some guy who's never played before, and you're like, well, what's he doing? Where's this guy gone? It's oh right, Cherky's playing this game. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Not someone who's exciting me enough to use my valuable transfers, I don't think. But someone I'd be very happy if I had already owned.
Yeah.
Are you? You've got them already.
I've got them already. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not foolish.
Yeah.
I ban enough guys that ban Tillmans obviously, and then you can get him in.
Up. Well, I'll be lucky next week.
Yeah.
when he takes the penalty off Watkins.
There you go.
Idea. I don't know. We'll see.
But no, I'm really interested to see how he is when he against us. And strangely, I hope he's absolutely terrible. But he looks, if you watch, a lot of the Milan games and everything, and how the goals are scored in this, he's an incredibly good transitional player.
Yeah.
And added to that, to be fair, he definitely just, even when people do camp in the box, he does seem to manage to time that part well. We saw the transitional best of him in this game. The question is, we'll see. I don't suspect the way that we'll set up will allow him to do those kind of transitional goals that he scored, or the transitional chances that he scored for both the assist and the goal. But will we see the other part to him, or like you say, will it just be Cherky or Marmouche?
Yeah. Or some new formation cooks up, or I think there was a few other interesting bits as well. I think Rico Lewis playing was not someone we'd necessarily. Mateus Nunes was kind of who I had in my head was going to be starting, but
Rico's linked to go.
And what was it? So Ryan Nori played left back, but it wasn't really left back, left wing back like we thought he would. He was almost tucking in the kind of Guardiola left centre back 3, which sort of didn't really fit with what I thought he was going to be doing, but shows that he can do that. I think, if they've got no Guardiola, then, I'm not sure exactly when he's back. I think he's just a doubt for the next few games rather than long term. But again, they've got so many options at centre back. John Stones is back. That they can just adapt players and put them in this other position. So sure, Reinders played in the spot that you want him for creating all these chances for FPL points, but he's also tactically flexible that it might just be that he needs to fill in somewhere else next week in order to allow another player to flourish. So actually, Rico Lewis inverting to cover off the midfield, the 2 defensive mids without Rodri, kind of have 2 guys to make up for a Rodri, meant that the left back has to be a left centre back, and he trusted Ryan out in order to do that. I'm sure if Guardiola might have been available, it might have been him instead. Might not have seen Aït-Nouri at all. But I think, there's just, he's so horses for courses that we're going to have players all over the place. I think Haaland's going to play 9 forever at the minute. But
yes.
He's quite a good pick. I think
he's not a bad pick.
He's not a bad pick. It's nice to see the guys who went against Salah and went for a Haaland draft. I know some people had both, but the guys who went for that draft, I think it was nice to see them rewarded for that, I suppose, bravery. But they're sort of taking the risk on. But it's not like Salah did nothing. But 2 goals for Haaland, pretty nice. Spurs
it's pretty nice.
Easy peasy. Chelsea. Obviously, we had Tosin announced as amazing and going to play, and then announced as not going to play.
And then don't play.
Don't know, and then obviously didn't. So Ampong and Chalobah, I think. Again, it's hard to really work out what the centre back. So I think Maresca's basically just saying, I don't like my centre backs. Can I have some new ones, please? So we'll see what happens there. But no Tosin, no Chalobah. I think if you're going for a defender, it's Cucurella really. Like James is good, but you just can't trust him to keep on playing. And even if he is fit, they can put Gusto there and rest him. And Sanchez does seem to be the mainstay goalkeeper. They're not signing Donnarumma. They're not buying anyone else. I don't quite know how a guy who was at one point the third choice best Brighton goalkeeper who got shipped off to Chelsea is now the starting Chelsea goalkeeper, but still there.
Magnificent win for the analytics world this weekend. Sanchez.
Sanchez. Clean sheet.
Bob Sanchez.
Got an extra bonus right at the end as well. Just to cheer you up right at the end. But
I know people don't like it, but I quite like it. It's like
just the cheeky extra bonus.
Just a little extra bit of drama on a Monday night.
And we got that with the DEFCONs now as well. You might get an extra one or lose one and lose the threshold. And yes, but Palace pretty strong. Obviously, had that disallowed SA free kick. Does seem like he's probably off. They're looking at Hwang Hee-chan, I think, as a potential replacement. They were linked with, was it El Kanous from Leicester as well? But does seem like they're probably gonna buy a replacement and put him in and not change the formation too much. I think they're pretty settled on this shape. That back five has been playing all the games all the time when they can. And then no Kamada, but Wharton and Hughes and Jefferson Lerma can come on. They've got Devaney to come on for Eze or Sarr. Mateta's looking pretty good for 90s at the minute until Nketiah's back, which is a bit
really
of a
good
boost.
for 90s.
But I suppose they might be looking at someone else, or someone maybe you can play. I know Hwang Hee-chan can play 9, might be able to cover for them a little bit. But
we'll get a little bit of info from them because they've got the game Thursday night.
That's true. Yeah, against Fredrikstad.
Yes, let's just see how much they rotate from that.
Because depending on the result. So it's home leg first, I'm pretty sure. So then, if they win it comfortably, they might be more likely to rotate in the second leg and have the guys fresh. But Forest at the weekend, Palace Forest, is a very, very exciting match at this time of the season, given everything that was going on with them. But could be a feisty one. I don't know. Let's see. Forest, again, they were next. Anderson took corners, but they seem to be signing some more players. They've bought Callum Wendo, McAtee, and Hutchinson, and look pretty likely to be signing Douglas Luiz as well. So that's a whole new midfield and striker line. I know they've got Europe, but this is quite a deep squad that they're going for.
It is quite a deep squad. Ndoye looks excellent from what I've seen of him. It kind of does all add up that Chris would just play 75 minutes every week and probably will get fed.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got enough strikers now that they could not start him for some games and play him in the Europa League stuff.
They could do.
So
but what if they don't?
Well, then he'll score every week and we'll be sad.
We'll all be sad.
It's Well, not everyone. Some people will own him. That's if no one owned him, then no one would be sad. I don't know. I don't back him to do what he did last year. And I don't fear not owning him. He's not anyone I'm sure he'll enter my team at some point in the season, but he's not one I'm really monitoring too highly or keeping an eye on. I think it's so much more likely that he gets worse in terms of as an out. How much better is he going to get than scoring every shot he has?
I was saying that all of last week, and then he gets a brace.
Yeah, I can't believe he started with a brace as well. Just classic. Yeah, it's carrying on. Still in form. Thiago took a penalty in this match as well. Brentford
took a penalty.
Started and took a pen. Damsgaard, partner had a child, so missed that game. So it sounds like he's straight back in. But I'm sure Andy Martin tweeted about it, but I'd missed it. And then not too much else. Jensen started over Henderson. They brought a few new guys in. They've got Dango signed now.
Yes.
And Kevin Shard didn't start but did come on. Apparently Malambo was not good from what I was hearing.
I think I saw something like 8 touches in the game.
Yeah, and Sharda came on probably earlier than he would have wanted to, than Andrews would have wanted to bring him on. So I think if Sharda's fit, Malambo's probably back out. But
just with both of these teams to an extent is they're in different spaces.
Yes,
but there's still a lot going on in that sort of front area that makes you go I'm not exactly sure how this is going to play out if he wins.
Well, I mean, Wissa's on strike and might get his move, but he might not and might have to come back.
Dango might play 9. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure he can cover it.
Where is it? You know, like I'm just like, I don't know enough from this to change a lot of my beliefs.
Yeah, I think I think I can still, especially if Wissa leaves, I think there is not a clear strongest 11, but I could certainly see Dango, Damsgaard, Shard, Tiago being that kind of front 4 with Yarmoliuk and Jensen or Henderson alongside him. And then you've got Keane Lewis Potter as an option. You've got Fabio Carvalho as an option off the bench, but probably not strong starters. I know Lewis Potter played quite a lot and is listed as a defender as well because he can play left back. But Rico Henry is fit and available. Finally, and good to have him back.
It's been a while. Hickey and Henry back in the squad.
Yeah, Hickey back in the squad.
So they've got fullbacks.
I think I'm probably expecting those 4 to be the front 4. But equally, if Wissa goes, they don't really have another striker apart from guys who can play 9. Dango can play a 9. So I wonder if they'd look. I know they were in for Callum Wendo before he signed for Forest.
They announced, how much you can trust admins or what they're given and what they've done. But Brentford, when they announced it, they said they announced they'd signed the forward Dango Atara.
Well, yeah.
If you're looking at nuances of what things might mean.
Footballer. Just generic. Probably.
There you go.
Probably ChatGPT wrote it or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We can read into it. It still could be fluid, still could be some options, but it's a new manager as well, so we can't be too certain. But I think again Tiago is like not one I'd be wanting to pick up with the uncertainty around the transfer market.
Not right now, but 3-4 weeks down the line.
If I had started with him, which I've done in a couple of formats, I think I'm happy to like go, okay, I should get another couple of games out of him, and I'm pretty sure he's on the pens now. While he's there. So, I think Tiago owners can be pretty happy with the outcome that they've got so far and hopefully not have a problem anytime soon. Might not have a problem at all. He might just be the striker. United, Arsenal.
I think we mostly covered this one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Other than probably not saying enough that...
straight in. I suppose there was that Swedish journalist who said that he knows Gyökeres's agent who said that he's on penalties or something.
Did you see somebody else said actually the translation isn't quite that way, is that he is a penalty taker.
Right. It was something about he's got the number 14 that is Henry, and he's probably something about we've signed a forward, we've signed a penalty taker, we've signed Dango Atara the forward. But I think I still think it's likely to be him over Saka. I think that's my personal opinion. But actually, and it does tend to be what the markets are pricing these players at in terms of forwards. But we won't know until one's taken. And even then, we used to think that Saka took one. Oh, Saka's on them, not Ødegaard. Ødegaard took the next one. Havertz took the one after that. Well, who knows?
I almost feel like the amount of social media ridicule that debut got almost makes me think it's even more likely he's going to get the penalty if it's given.
But if he misses it then he's never playing again.
Then the pictures will just get fatter. That's what they'll do. They'll just keep doing that. Those ones that they keep doing
every
it.
Time
every time
he doesn't score a game, I
get
a haircut. And then Mount started as a 9, a sort of false 9, but I'd imagine Šeško's gonna be straight in when he's ready. He just hasn't signed recently, but I thought Cunha and Bomo would play the 9 and they'd have another 10, but Mason Mount number 9. I'd love him to stay as the 9. That'd be fun. That'd be exciting.
It still wouldn't surprise me if they did do that, because like I say, if there was one thing that I didn't like, it was the midfield too, and there feels like an obvious option in that if Šeško's like not completely ready in training, or they think they want to ease him in, put Cunha at 9 because he can definitely do that. Put Bruno in the 10 and play 2 in the middle. But I thought it was weird that Mainu didn't came on. Is that he brought on Ugarte, who was really, really just bad. you don't mind bringing Ogate on if you're winning, but you don't. He's not the man you want on if you're losing.
Get you a goal.
Yeah. Somehow he tries to. Like every time he does try, he'll try and shoot from in a position where you're like, everyone looks at him like, "What? Why do you do that?"
Have a go. Go on.
But Arsenal aren't. They just aren't fluent. In pre-season, every time I saw them, they're not fluent, and they're not. But the quality of the squad is just all there.
Yeah, and I think from a fantasy perspective too, like it's still a defense I want to invest in at some point.
100%.
And I think, what I kind of saw from yesterday is assuming all four fullbacks, if you call them all four fullbacks, assuming they're all fit, I don't really think that they're viable options. I think it's Gabriel Saliba and Raya are your defenders that you can go for. And I think we kind of thought that they were probably the best three anyway. But they did a similar thing to Liverpool, where they started with two fullbacks and swapped the fullbacks at 70 minutes. And
the more we see they've got various set piece threats. So if Gyökeres becomes another one that becomes that, then the more it might be that I think we sway a little bit more Saliba's way than Gabriel's way for the first time, really.
I don't know. I fancy Raya. I think I like putting the money in the goalkeeper spot and just leaving him there. We'll see. I don't know. And then Leeds Everton.
He's DEFCON it up though. We always known that Saliba's good baseline, so he's good on bonus. If he's just mopping up some DEFCON a bit more often than we think he necessarily would.
Yeah, certainly from last season. Like I don't think Gabriel got any. No. And Saliba was like once or something like that. So it might change, but I'd be surprised. Since just the way the style that they play, it's probably not going to change that much. But still, bonus, goal threat, best defense in the league. Maybe they've had a couple of tough games off the start. I know they have a tough game against Liverpool in Gameweek 3 as well. So probably ones to move on to, but definitely ones I've got in my mind that I might want to put some more money in my defense to get those guys. And then Leeds Everton. I thought Leeds were great. Yeah, this was a good game. Everton I don't think they had a shot in the first half. Didn't offer too much. I know they were missing both their left backs.
They're not,
and obviously they're missing Branthwaite as well. So I think Garner at left back, Keane at right centre back, Tim Irigbunam, go for it. In midfield, Grealish not quite ready yet to start. Yeah, I think they're not. Tarkowski hit his DEFCONs pretty early, and they were not the better team in any way. I think it was a deserved 1-0 win for Leeds, but they weren't far away from holding out for 0-0. No. Pickford, could have saved the pen. Tarkowski penalty I think it was a pen, but you can see it. If it wasn't given, I wouldn't be outraged.
No, 100%.
So Leeds were good. Just couldn't quite put one away until they got the pen. I still think that forward spot is I mean, I already didn't know if it was going to be Pirro or Mecha, and now they've got Cavaloon as well.
And then Beto, Barry.
Yeah. Okafor, they're in for Leeds as well. So Dan James, Nonto, Okafor on the wings. Statch looks a pretty interesting one. He's
definitely.
They were talking about signing him for set pieces, but then he's taking them all because he's big. He's a big guy. I thought they were going to put him in the middle, but took six corners.
Goodmanson
looked really strong as well.
Goodmanson took a corner and was comfortably clear on the bonus of everybody.
Yeah, 4 million, pretty cheap. I think the issue is that if you were going to get a Leeds defender for 4 million, you've already done it. There are certainly ones to keep an eye on moving forward. Perry started as well. I didn't actually write this down, but Perry was a doubt for the first game. Yeah. But then seems to, I imagine it's his spot. But Darlow might have got the first one. So Perry's the Bogle was a doubt as well, and he started. So it'd be interesting to see what centre backs they go for once Biol, because Biol was suspended for the first game, and Strauch and Rodon both played pretty well, I thought. But not a huge amount of difference there. I'm still quite happy with Tarkowski, even though the Everton defence didn't look great.
No. I immediately take away from it was Tarko just good pick, play whenever you want.
Yeah. So that was all the notes, which goes into the odds for next week. So having learned all of that, this is what we got looking forward. Is there anything that sticks out to you here in terms of higher or lower than you thought, or teams that you think, anything that looks wrong?
No, I don't think anything looks wrong. Arsenal and Man City, they for me are like if you've got the attacking asset from Arsenal, you cap him. If you've got Haaland, you cap him.
Yeah,
it's Chelsea and Liverpool is basically the same. And so again, that Palmer versus Mo, I think it's probably a little bit closer than I had it down for prior to game week 1.
Yeah, I think West Ham were not as good as not that I thought they were going to be amazing, but they were definitely weaker than I thought. I'll read them out for audio.
Yeah.
Arsenal are at 2.5 projected goals, City are at 2.35, Liverpool 1.9, and Chelsea 1.95. So it's kind of two brackets. Bournemouth are 1.9 as well, but don't really have captainable asset in the same way. I know some people were looking at Evan Nielsen or Semenyo. Obviously played really well in the first game.
Yeah.
But I think we don't really know who's on pens for them. Clivert might be back in. They've just signed Ben Doak. Potentially looking at Adley, I think, from Leverkusen. So I think their attack is not. So they've got Tavernier as well. So I don't know who's taking the pens. I don't know if I'll be confident enough. I'm very happy with my Evan Nielsen attacker for that game.
Yeah.
But
it's much more an Evan Nielsen game though as well.
Not one I'm going to captain. So if you would choose, do you think it's Saka and Haaland, and then a little gap, and then Palmer and Salah?
Yeah.
So would you put them in an order, 1 to 4? Would you go Saka or Haaland, or have you got a preference?
I actually think I would go Haaland over Saka. That would be my preference.
Yeah. I think I probably would too.
If I was on free hit, I'd probably captain Haaland as much as it's against Tottenham.
As much as it is against Tottenham, and it's very much against Tottenham.
It is, yes.
It's a lot against Tottenham.
I probably would. I feel more confident in this share of where we're looking in terms of this. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for most teams here, and it's also not good for most teams here. If you look at it, we've got a lot this week where it's expected 1.2 goals, 1.3, 1.4 goals for the teams. That with guys you're sitting around, you're like, what are we going to see from here?
I know some people are looking at free hit too. This is probably a reasonable way to attack, especially if you didn't want Arsenal for the start and you can triple up on them this week. Is it something you've looked at, or?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I just think there's so much that can happen in week 2 compared to week 1 in terms of where things flip. By its absolute nature, is the teams that probably did well in game week 1 to an extent had a reasonable fixture, and therefore is they've got the teams that have done well will have it slightly harder this week than what they had it last week, and therefore where do you place things? You just don't feel like I know enough that this is the time I should be playing free hit, especially this season in a single game week. I'm like, you've got it in it, all of them. I'll know a lot more at some point between now and Christmas.
We tend to get to game week 5, 10 and be at least sure of how the teams are playing right then and there. Maybe not how they'll develop over the whole season, but
and if what attracted you was Arsenal and Man City, I just think Arsenal and Man City were already good picks.
Sure.
So if you thought this was just really hot, then you should just got Arsenal Man City picks. It's because they're still good. It's not like Saka is ever a bad pick. It's not like Haaland's ever a bad pick.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, if you didn't have them, you could always wildcard into them.
You could always wildcard into them
going forward. You could even wildcard. Well, Arsenal have got Liverpool next after that, so you could even wildcard into Arsenal, free hit 3 them out immediately, get them back again.
But
feels a bit
immediately.
Fiddly, but
I've seen people looking, probably not your world, but more my world, where it's right now, Palmer and Watkins
Yeah.
transfers exactly to, say, Elliot Anderson or Reinders, it would have done if you'd done it on Saturday, and Haaland.
Right. From -4 straight off the bat.
From -4 straight off the bat.
Ah, dear.
And you're like, look at it. It's not bad fixture for Villa. It's not bad fixture for Chelsea. Like, you're going to have to sit in your hands for that one.
Yeah. I think I'd rather play a chip than take a hit. I think if I wanted those moves, I'd play the chip to get the rest of the bonus and knock out the -4 personally. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I go hit crazy when the doubles come around, but before that, I'm basically never making one. 4 points is a lot. That's a goal.
4 points is a huge lot.
Yeah, just to straight off the bat. But
I think what also adds to that is people are like, am I less confident now in captaining Mo? Am I less confident in captaining Palmer? I mean,
it compounds with the captaincy. Yeah, you can stretch the gap a bit more, but still feels quite far. I think I'd rather just have a captain who's...
It feels excessive.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, good luck to them. But I'll definitely be Palmer or Salah come deadline. I'm leaning Palmer at the minute, but I'm not too sure. I guess I've got my team here as well. Palmer has the captaincy according to Solio at the minute.
Yep.
Obviously this will update through the week. And yeah, very similar numbers. But I think my team's just in good shape just to roll this out and not have any issues. I'm pretty happy with. My two forwards had quite tricky Gameweek1 fixtures, but a good longer term, and this week especially have some good matches. Evan Nelson and Mateta up against Wolves and Forest. I've got a pretty strong midfield. Don't have any issues there. Got Murillo, Tarkowski, Anderson, some strongish defences. A couple of home games. Some Defcons, hopefully. Dubravka's fit. Don't have to play Vicario away to City. If Dubravka wasn't fit, I would have just played Vicario away to City and just been like, oh, well, never mind. It's not ideal, but clean sheet would be lovely. Haaland, that would be a Haaland blank too. So I can bench Porro. Maybe look to move him on in a couple of weeks' time, or he's still good after this game. But I might be looking at something like moving to another Palace guy for game week 4. So Munoz or Lacroix or something like that. Or I might move Tarkowski out. I've had half an eye on Bench Boost 5 now. I hadn't really looked at it too much, but just checking my team now. Because I think I played quite agnostically for where my chip's going to go. My chips are going later once I know more and stuff figures out. But I realised that actually, because I don't have Verts now, then come game week 5, if I sell like Palmer and Mark Gu for Strand Larson and Verts, I've got the flexibility to do a move like that. Then wildcard in 5 out of it. Or alternatively, I could do like Tarkowski down to Estev and Mark Gu up to Strand Larson or something like that. So I think like if everything goes well, if I don't get any injuries, then I can decide in game week 4 or 5 if I want to kind of go at this bench boost 5 idea. But a lot will have changed by then. Some teams will be looking better or worse. But if everyone's fit and it still looks good, then if I can get to game week 4 with 2, 3 free transfers, then I'll be in a spot where I can go, okay, I could bench boost 5 and wildcard 6 out of it and set myself up from there. Because I can also then wildcard into a Haaland team in game week 6, which would be quite fun. But basically, team looks good, and I want to get to game week 4 with as much flexibility as I can. So injuries provided, not doing anything for a little while is the plan.
You'd lean more into wildcarding into a Haaland team than, say, saving transfers, spending it and transferring a Haaland team, and then potentially wildcard it out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend how many transfers I've been able to roll. Because actually, if I can wildcard like with a couple of or with a transfer or 2 in hand, to then decide if I want to swap back in game week 8 with 2 of my 3 transfers, I think I wouldn't want to wildcard. This happened last season. I wildcarded in game week 8 with Haaland, but with enough transfers that in game week 10 I had 3, so I could swap Haaland back to Salah, and I had a spare. so I had a spare one to do it. It wasn't like I was gonna cut myself short. So I think if I wildcarded in 6 with Haaland and I had a spare one to then get to 8 to swap and have a spare, then I might be happy to do that. But equally, I think that would be because if I was looking at the bench boost 5, I'm making my structure quite inflexible by selling a Palmer to get 3 strikers.
You've got your 2 transfers that you're going to do in 5.
So I think if I don't bench boost 5, I'm not going to wildcard in 6 or 7 or 8, probably.
Okay.
It might be that something comes up and I have a few issues and maybe I need to, in which case I'd have to think about Haaland or Salah structures and how to get into one and off the other. And but equally, I could even use a free hit to do that. I could free hit in 6 to get Haaland and then stick with my Salah team afterwards or something like that. But I think basically those are the things I've got my eye on in game week 5, 6, 7, 8. So the intention is to get to game week 4 with a way to choose a path then. Like I've chosen my path for game weeks 1 to 4 and it's this team and do nothing. So that I'm in a powerful position come game week 4 or 5 is the plan. Even if my team for game week 1 to 4 is maybe a little bit worse or a little bit
makes sense.
Less strong. It's like it's robust. It will be like, okay, come game week 4, unless it's all gone terribly wrong, I'll have a good team with 3 or 4 transfers.
Makes sense.
And then figure it out once the transfer window is shut, once we know exactly which teams are very good and which ones are very bad, and so on. But that's the plan, hopefully. So the plan is to sit on my hands and do nothing. Have you got a similar plan? Are you looking at?
Very much so. My plan is sit on my hands.
Yours on screen now. Rogers, Watkins, Pedro Palmer. What's that? Reinders.
Sells versus Dubravka is something definitely.
Yeah.
I'm weighing up. And I quite like the idea of the Dubravka fun with it. So I think I probably might go that way.
Yeah.
The 2 bench guys.
You're not playing Porro or Rodon, are you? Well, Porro. You did mention Porro.
Porro and Sells versus Dubravka and Anderson's definitely something that's on my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
On my mind. But I think bench team, as in bus team, sorry, just look at it and say Dubravka, Morello, Anderson, and Richards. Absolutely fine with playing all those. Front 7, I'm not intending on changing unless something happens that we find out of it. So Rogers, Palmer, Verts, Reinders, Salah, Watkins, and João Pedro. At the moment, I've got. Hold on. Why is your Palmer better than my Palmer?
Oh,
can we go back?
Well, I've taken these a minute apart. Oh yeah,
what kind of Solio privilege is this? Where yours is worth 6.6 and mine's 6.5?
I don't. I think I just took them about 5 minutes apart. James was to push an update.
Absolutely disgusting.
Oh, dear. I hadn't even spotted that. That's fun.
I am looking at this and saying
my Palmer's worse than your Palmer.
My predicted points for Mo and Palmer are the same. The predicted goals for the team are the same. I trust Salah implicitly compared to how much I trust Palmer. I think I'm just leaning suddenly a bit more and more towards just leave it on Mo, mate.
Yeah. I feel like you don't think, oh, God, I regret captaining Mo Salah very often. Because even if Palmer's the one who scores and Salah doesn't, I think like you just feel quite safe with him. I think that's almost
sure how much I trust.
That's almost why I want to captain Palmer. It's like
I
get excited by the. Oh, I think also Palmer's a Friday game and Salah's the Monday game. If this factors
so everyone's just going to captain Mo because no one's got the balls. No one's got the balls to ruin it for 3 days. We can all pretend. Yeah, we would all like to pretend that we shouldn't bear it. But
no. I'll happily ruin my weekend. I don't really mind.
No, I can't. Yeah. I'm going to tell you now that I am going to captain Mo Salah.
Okay,
right? And this is where we'll be casual. Yeah. Not because I've on Friday night got to do 3.5 hour drive whilst that game's on with my 6-year-old son and my wife.
Okay.
To then go. So I'm going to the in-laws. I'm staying at the in-laws Friday night.
Yeah.
Then Saturday morning I'm driving to Devon to stay in to stay in like an Airbnb thing with her brother-in-law and their children.
Yeah.
And like, I can't turn up at the
You
in-laws.
look stressed about this. Even the idea of captaining Palmer throughout that whole thing.
Oh God, having that. Whereas if it's just on Monday night, I'm like, nah, stress less.
Yeah. I mean, if you really come down to a 50-50, I think that's a perfectly valid reason to captain one or the other.
1,000,000% is how
I think it's one I try not to put into my decision making personally, because I think I'd rather just go, I think I can find a way to split the two, and there's other avenues like what risk profile I want to take and the ownership I think people are going to have and that kind of thing, that I will go, okay, even if I think it's close, I might want to play safe or play aggressive, and I haven't really decided yet. But I think it's a valid strategy to go. So, and actually, if I'm trying to predict what other people are going to do, then people who are 50-50 are going to pick Salah for that reason. So I can try and do something
Use
different.
That as an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how the weekend goes. After a Palmer blank, I'll probably feel pretty silly. I'll tail between my legs. So then
can't blank again.
2 reasons for Salah not to do a lot of goals against Newcastle, please.
Mate, if he blanks again, it'll be Bruno for every man that hasn't got him by Saturday morning.
But yeah, that's plausible. Might have to dodge a price drop or something. So I'll double down on it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, this team's strong, and I think. Would you think much about playing Murillo and Sells, as in like playing Sells because you've got Murillo, or is that not something you're thinking about?
No, it does. Again, there's part of me that says yes to double down and do that part, but there's also the part of me that says, especially when it's a keeper, I feel very differently when it's a keeper, because one of the things I look at with my keeper is like, what are the chances of how do I play this out that there's almost auxiliary points to this space, is because they don't just get cleans, is in this. Do I think Dub has a good chance potentially of bonus? Do I think he's got a good chance of a save point? Yes, I do. Actually, yeah, is when it comes down to Forest, if Forest play well, I'm not sure Sales is the one that gets it anyway. So I don't know. I think that one I'm a little bit more.
Yeah, that's one to pick. Stressed in the car on the way down to your in-laws. Perfect. Just flip a coin, figure that one out.
But yeah, they're close. They're close. When you look at this, obviously, Porro's not particularly close compared to the other defenders.
Yeah, certainly in the default projections. I think if you think his attacking threat is higher than we've got it down for, then you can also move. I know the markets are not particularly hot on a Fulham clean sheet. I'm sure Anderson is mostly coming from C-bits as well.
But we're going to get 4 points for an assist and conceding 2 goals.
Yeah, which is the same as Anderson conceding a goal and getting defensive contribution.
Exactly.
But you might get a clean sheet. I don't know. Maybe Spurs get the clean sheet. Maybe we all look very silly. But
Anderson scored against Man United. Was it last season? Last season.
All I can remember from Anderson is that I wildcarded him in, and then he scored an own goal, and then he got injured, and then he came back, and then he got suspended. And that was not a great 10 weeks of owning him. So I'm sure he did some points later, and I've owned him in the past before that.
He definitely scored.
He didn't start well for me.
Anderson definitely scored against Man United at Old Trafford, and they won that game 1-0. But I can't remember if it was the Fulham last season or whether it was for Palace the season before.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they're playing at Craven Cottage anyway,
so completely irrelevant biasness.
Well, no, it's Anderson, and it's Man United, and it's probably a different defence. He might play for a different team, but yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Who knows?
But yeah, I think that's us. That's Game Week 1. That's what we learnt. That's what we think will happen in Game Week 2, or at least the markets. That's what we're going to do with our teams. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No. It's it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. We do this. As I said, I've done this basically 2 nights in a row. Effectively, we've talked about the teams, but this is why I always like doing these things. Is that I don't think people that may watch both might say I did repeat some stuff, but I don't think I talked about the same thing once with you that we and Adam talked about yesterday.
For an hour and a half and covered entirely
it's
different
mad
stuff.
about.
Yeah.
And that's why this game's cool, to just keep talking about football, is that when you talk with different people, you might look at different things and you might have different conversations. So keep talking.
Yeah. I don't know how Pras does it. I feel like when he comes on and we do the podcast, and he's done 3 earlier in the day or something, and I'm like, oh, how are you still going? But he's very impressive. So I've done my best to host, but I enjoyed that. That was good. Thank you very much for having us on. If you want to check out more of Baker, you can do so at Above Average FPL on YouTube. Sign up to their Patreon. I'm a Patreon member. I'm not super active in the Discord. There's an analytics channel, which is basically the only one I pop up in whenever someone's got some questions. But everything else is a bit too fast paced for me. I've got too much to keep up with and don't know what's going on. But really enjoy listening to your content. And yes, thank you. Do remember to like and subscribe and rate this podcast 5 stars. I'm learning to do all this exciting stuff. And as I said, Solio Analytics tool is going to be free for the full month of September, as well as August, to say thank you for all the positive support we've had so far. So that's at solioanalytics.com. You can get on, you can tinker around. If you want any questions, we're pretty responsive as well on Twitter, or there's a Discord server that you can join that's linked in the tool. But otherwise,
I'm in there.
Good luck for next week, and see you next time.
See you soon.